Hey everyone, I'm Miss Peters. I'm the teacher librarian. I'm going to give you a little lesson about our book adaptation project from page to screen, where we talk about books and how they're adapted into movies or shows. So a little overview, we're going to do a project overview that includes the steps and due dates. I'll give you some book ideas. I'll give you some questions to think about. I'll give you some tips and ways to organize your information, and we'll talk about project options. So the book adaptation project, you will choose a book and its adapted movie or show. You will think about questions, complete organizers to compare and contrast, and then you'll create a final project showcasing what you've learned. This project is due May 30th. Here are the steps. First, you will choose a book and a movie or show. The library, we have so many resources in the library, and we can help you find streaming options, books, anything you need. We'll have this step be due February 1st. Then second, you will read your book and watch your show and movie. If you need help scheduling and budgeting your time, I can help. We'll have this step be due by March 1st. So while you're reading and watching, we'll have you answer questions that we'll discuss later on, and I'll share this with you via a worksheet as well. This section will be due April 1st, but it's not a set in stone due date. There'll be other options if you need some. Then you'll decide how you want to present your findings. You could write a paper, a podcast, a video, another option. I'll want you to choose what you'll want to do by April 15th. If you need to change that, if something's not working, we can always figure it out. But the final due date is May 30th, where you'll create your project and present it at the end of the semester. We have the whole semester to work on this, and we'll be working on it a lot in class. So I'll be around to help you as much as needed, and it is due May 30th. I want to walk you guys through some book ideas. This is just a few options, but I would encourage you to think of your own. If there's something you're really passionate about, or a movie you love, or a book you love, I highly recommend to choose that. But here's a few options you can choose from these as well. First is Hunger Games. If you're doing something in a series, I would recommend just choosing one book and how it relates to one movie. Unless there's something specific that happens later on that you really want to talk about, I advise just focusing one book, one movie. There's Dumplin', which is available on Netflix. Moxie, also available on Netflix. Heartstopper, which is a graphic novel and a series. So the graphic novel might be a little easier to read. And the series, while it might seem a little longer than a movie, right now it's only 8 episodes that are about 30 minutes each. So it's pretty doable time-wise. There's also The Summer I Turned Pretty. Little Women. There's a few different adaptations of this book, so you can choose one. This is just the most recent one. The Hate You Give. The Fault in Our Stars. Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. Love, Simon, which is from the book Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda. And Hole's a classic. So the choice of your book and your show or movie must be turned in by February 1st. If something changes, reach out to me and let me know. These due dates are kind of there just to help you stay on track in terms of your progress throughout the semester. But if things come up, please let me know. We'll find ways to work around them. Here are kind of some questions I want you to consider while you're watching the shows and reading the books. I will have worksheets that I will give you during our next class that will have all these written down as well, but we're just going to talk through them right now. So I want you to think about the characters and how they're different in the show or movie and the book. How are they described differently? What are the characters' physical traits and personal characteristics, how are they different or how are they the same? And how is a character different from your imagination? Maybe something wasn't specifically written down, but it still seems different to you. Were there any characters that were added or not included? What would you change about the characters? And maybe how are they similar? I also want you to think about plot and setting. Is there a plot element that's missing from the show? Was anything added? What helped or hurt? What was the setting of the book? Did it change? And then I want you to think about the mechanics of writing a book or creating a show. Why do you think things were changed? Was there a big plot point that just couldn't logistically be made in a film? Maybe something that involved effects or anything? And what do you think, what worked and what didn't? Were Harry Potter's eyes green in the books but blue in the movies? Maybe Daniel Radcliffe couldn't wear contacts. Why do you think those things were changed? If you can find any information online and do some research about it, that's great. But I also just kind of want to hear your thoughts. And then overall, I want to hear your opinion. Do you think the makers of the movie did a good job adapting the book? What would you have done differently? What did you enjoy, the book or the movie? Why? Was there one you disliked? Was there one you hated? Do you think the author of the book is or would be happy with this movie? Why or why not? If you can do any research online about what the author said, that would be amazing. But if you think it's just your opinion as well, why do you think they'd be happy or unhappy? Is there a book that you would like to be seen, that you would like to see adapted into the movie? Did something spark your attention or spark your interest while you're watching this movie? Like, oh, this plot point is great. It reminds me of this book. I want to see this book. Are you ever reading a book and visualizing it in your head and thinking, man, I wish this could be a movie? And what are the pros and cons of adapting a book into a movie versus a show? Would Harry Potter work better as a show than a movie? Could you expand on things? Could you shorten things? I'm going to talk about a few different ways to organize your findings. I'll give you worksheets in class that have the questions we just kind of talked about. And then I want to go over how you can create a Venn diagram and a concept map. So here's a Venn diagram I did about Heartstopper. And this is just a little quick one. So it's not exhaustive. So I have Book Charlie on the left, Show Charlie on the right, and how they're similar in the middle. As you can see, Book Charlie's a little more popular in the books. He's the head boy. He's Spanish on his dad's side. He has a little brother. Show Charlie is not as popular, and he's white. He has a sister named Tori in both of them. He plays rugby and drums. But you can see he has a little brother in the book, and he does not in the show. And I really want to think about, why did they get rid of that character? What wouldn't have worked in the show with that character? I also made a little concept map that I used on Jamboard, and I've included the link here so you can go see it as well later. What I like about Jamboard is you can create these sticky notes and move them around. So rather than trying to create a concept map with pencil that you have to erase and keep moving stuff around, Jamboard's a good way to just move things around as you go. So you can see I kind of made these little divisions of setting, characters, plot, show, book. So that's one option you can do. So for the project options, here are some different ways you can display your knowledge. You can make a presentation, a paper, podcast, movie. You can create a website or a blog, or if there's any other way. I want you to be as creative as you would like and really find what fits best. If you prefer to write a paper, great, write a paper. If you prefer to make something a little more visual, that's great too. You have the choice in this assignment. Here are those steps and the due dates again, which we talked about at the beginning. And remember, while this is a compare and contrast project, I want it to be reflective. I want to know your opinions. It doesn't have to be formal. You can write, I believe, I like, I think. I want your opinions and your knowledge. If you have any questions, you can email me. Like I said, we're working on this in class, so we will have time to talk about everything. You'll have time to read the books in class, work on your projects in class. But feel free to reach out to me via email anytime. All right, and here's an exit ticket. I want you to fill this little Google form assessment to check your understanding about the project. The link is here, and I'll be sharing it with you as well. Please feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. Thanks, guys. Bye.